every day. You got to do this thing every day. Hey, family. Baruch haba and shalom. It's so good to see you guys again. We miss you all. I hope you all missed us. Thank everyone for prayers. Thank you for praying for us, guys. And we are back. Just keep us in prayer as we keep you guys in prayer. But we are back and we are coming strong with it, strong with it. Okay, so let me just say this really quick, right, guys? I want to thank you guys for just being so faithful. Going on like a year and a half now. So just thank you for your consistency. Thank you for your loyalty and your faithfulness. And we are actually, is it this month? I think we're going to kind of come out of the Zoom and officially shift over to the YouTube. So, guys, bear with us. We need about 20 more subscribers. So, I want to encourage you to encourage someone to go subscribe on our page so that we can start going more of the live YouTube. And we may actually do both initially and then eventually phase out of the Zoom. But we do have to hit YouTube. We keep getting calls and emails and all sorts of messages saying, hey guys, you guys need to be on a bigger platform. You need to consider that. And so we are going to venture on out into that larger platform. Right. With no further ado, this month is the love of April. It's the month April love. I love that name, April. It's such a pretty name. April love. The month of April, love and money. Now, love and money, love and money. Those two, a lot of people act like love and money doesn't go hand in hand. It actually creates a problem. Like people think that, or I've heard a lot that people say, finances is one of the number one reason that people get a divorce or their marriage doesn't work out. And I agree, but I disagree also. And so um, I'll tell you why. But first, we're going to play our topic today. So this is a billionaire. I forget his name. He's a billionaire, and he's talking about marriage. Even as a billionaire or a billionaire mindset, and you got to remember, millionaires and billionaires is not really what they have that makes them millionaires and billionaires. It's really their mindset and their abilities and their creativity, because you can lose the money and always you're that same person that can recreate. You're that same person, you know what I'm saying? That can create more finances, create more opportunities to get finances. So it's really the mindset. So this is the mindset of a billionaire. I think he's been married like 60 years. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was like 60 years he's been married. So we're going to go ahead and listen to him, and then we're going to get into it.
Most important decision you're going to make in your life. What do you think it is?
Who you marry?
The spouse. The most important decision you make in your entire life is the spouse, because the wrong one is a disaster. The right one is fantastic. Now, I've had the right one for 68 years. Everything we've done together as a team. It's been wonderful.
So you've been together since you were my age. I'm 25.
Yes.
Can you define the word love?
With great difficulty. The feeling you have for each other, the respect, the positive attitude you carry to each other, being there for each other without any equivocation whatsoever. There's never an issue, should I, shouldn't I? If it's something that is important for the family or important to your spouse, you do it. Simple. Love is a conglomeration of attitudes, feelings. I mean, there's just so much that's part of it.
It's a loaded question.
It's almost impossible to define.
Yeah.
Make sure you marry the right spouse. Nothing more important in your entire life. What's the most
Nothing more important in your entire life. And it is so true. Okay, so it was 68 years he's been married. He and his wife, 68 years. And, sometimes I think people think it's easier when you're married and have a lot of money. Sometimes it's even more challenging, um, especially when women are like, which is very funny to me, when women are like, oh, I want to marry a millionaire. They marry somebody with a lot of money. But then when they really get into that life with that person, they don't realize that millionaire, he travels a lot. That millionaire is in a lot of meetings. That millionaire is out doing presentations. That millionaire, he's working or she's working. You know what I'm saying? And so they don't sit home around. and lounge around. They didn't make that money, you know, by doing a 9 to 5. They didn't make that money by working only Monday through Friday. You know what I'm saying? And living for the weekends. They made that money. Trust me, as an entrepreneur or business person, your hours are 24 hours, 7 days a week, period. And so a lot of times they're like, oh my God, they're not home enough, or I don't see them enough. And so to hear this billionaire say that they work together, and he also said it is one of the most important, or it is the number one decision in your life. It is the most important decision in your life. The reason why it's the most important decision is because whoever you marry will honestly determine some things, definitely your future. It'll determine your happiness. No, it will. It will. Because even if you come into a marriage happy and they're not happy, guess what? They're going to have you miserable. It determines how far you go in life. It'll determine where you go in life. It really does. And so if you have someone where you guys are like, hey, we want to make, 120,000 a year together. We want to have a home, maybe cost $500,000. We want to have 3 kids, um, 2 cars, and be able to go to Disney World every summer. Then you have to find someone that's willing to do that. You understand, right? If you don't, if there's someone that wants that life, 120K is good for them, and someone else is like, no, I want 520K. Well, we may have a problem because what is required of the 120 is minimum to what is required of the 520. Yeah. And so you have to see if your goals line up, especially your goals that you have, for when you're in your 30s, when you're in your 40s, when you're in your 50s, when you're in your 60s, what do you want your retired life to look like? And so all of this is a part of love and money. And so one may be like, hey, I only want to work 20 years. And then after that, we retire and we don't do much, but, we're together. Others are like, hey, I want us to retire. And when we retire, we're going to go ahead and pay for a cruise, for 12 months. And we're going to go see the world together. You know what I'm saying? So marriage is going to really determine a lot of things pertaining to you. Where are you going to go? How far are you going to go? How long it may take you. How long it may take you to go. And I'm just going to throw out scenarios here. And so here's one thing, children. And so whenever we do a counseling session, we always say, don't get pregnant in the first year. Come to know each other, come to be together, spend time together, come to know one another, and set your goals together. And, some people have the mindset, and you guys know I could be very direct and candor about stuff. Some people can have the mindset of, we're going to have children, but they broke as hell. They broke. And it's like, how you having kids and they got no money? Like you didn't even think, man, let's go ahead and make this money. Let's stash this money. You know what I'm saying? So when we have our kids, you don't have to work. You can stay home and we're still in a good place. I've seen so many couples plan to have children or don't even plan to have children, just doing the do, have kids and they broke. Like, who does that? And so you have to make sure that that partner that you're dealing with doesn't have the mindset of, you know, if your mindset is when I have kids, I want to be able to stay home and us to still have our lifestyle, right? For us to still live, whatever our comfortable is, right? And you can go to work, I can stay home. So our kids are not in daycare, right? Because I've heard some daycare stories. I don't know much about daycare. Our kids really didn't do daycare. And I surely didn't grow up in a daycare. So if I did, I don't remember. My grandmother took care of us. And so, but we got different grandmothers now, right? So a lot of them ain't doing the daycare or keeping the grandkids like that, right? And so now it's like, well, then I get to stay home with the children, which is going to save us money with daycare. It'll save money, right? But do we have enough money to do that to where I get to stay home? All right. So you have to really talk on tips like that, your mindset about it, right? Is it the mindset of, oh, well, if we have a baby, fine. If we don't, fine. You really got to look at that because children cost money. Children cost money. And money, remember, money is in different forms. And so when I say children cost money, I'll give an example. Time. Like time isn't money, but your time determines, or how you use your time determines a lot about your finances. It does. And so, um, if you're like one that, we don't have any money, we just doing whatever, and we're just having kids, you're gonna hurt somewhere. You're gonna hurt somewhere financially, which is going to hurt the marriage. Let me tell you, no money and children is stress in a marriage. It is. It's strain and it's stress. And it's interesting that both partners have a different mindset when it comes to marriage and children and money. They do, depending upon their upbringing and also pertaining to their gender. So women are all excited. Oh my God, we're having a baby. And the first thing they're thinking about are clothes and, you know what I'm saying? And a crib and, you know what I'm saying? And am I going to breastfeed? And oh my God, is it a girl? Is it a boy? Or, that's the mindset of women. Men are like, oh my God, how much is this going to be? I have to make more money now. They're going to think money and taking care, they're going to think more, the responsibility is going to be a different mindset with the man than it is with the woman. The woman's thinking, okay, so we got to make sure, we get plenty of rest and, oh, their crib is next to our bed. That's their responsibility and of the woman or their mindset rather, right? And so men, they're thinking completely different, guys, completely different. So these are things you have to think about when you're talking about getting married, and making sure, that first year you're making your money. That first year you set your goals. That first year, you are planning things of how you want your next 5 years to look together. How do you want your next 10 years to look together, your next 15, your next 20 years together? I love how he said we work together. But if there's no plan, then how are you all working together? What are you working together on? What are you working together on? What are you working and doing? What are you working on? You know what I'm saying? So you have to sit down and look at that, right? And you have to think about that. Um, you have to think which spouse, okay, hey, when you're on a date, hey, so are you good for 9 to 5? And we meet for dinner at the table at home. One may be like, nope, I have to, I have to work till 10 o'clock at night. These are things, and see, this is how women get tripped up. We're too busy emotionally about it. Oh my God, I feel so good when he's around. I feel like this when he calls. You know what I'm saying? And you have to get past that because he has a different life than your life, and you have to merge the two together. And so marriage is a very, very, very important decision. Please don't do it on a whimsical. And please don't do it fully on love and feelings. All right. Because we know that love is not, it is a feeling, but it isn't. Love is a decision, really. I decide to stay in this marriage. I decide to stay with you. I decide to see your imperfections and still love you. You decide to see my imperfections and still love me. I decide to grow together. I decide to, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's a decision, right? And so don't do it based on just emotions, and I'm just kind of getting my feet wet a little bit as we've been gone almost 2 weeks, a week and a half or 2 weeks. So I'm still trying to get my feet wet with this, but don't go on a feeling, guys. Oh my God, we look so good together. Or how about when you go around, everybody's like, oh my God, y'all are a good looking couple. Please, y'all, don't be shallow with this thing. All right. Get into the depth of it. Talk about your credit. Be honest. Be honest. That brother may be like, okay, tell me about your credit. Okay, why do you have debt? Oh, because you went to school and you have a degree. No problem. Your degree actually will help. increase our revenue. So we'll pay it off. You know what I'm saying? But if you're one, it was like, oh yeah, my credit, I got three repossessed, and you got to find that stuff out. Really. You know what I'm saying? Because if a person is constantly getting repossessions and foreclosures and evictions, and see about the ethnic community, this is something about the ethnic community, because other communities, they do background checks. They actually do. Those communities actually say, who are your people? Okay, what's your last name? All right, tell us about your bloodline. Tell us about your lineage. Tell us about, your ancestors. Who are your ancestors? And we don't do that enough. We don't talk about, okay, well, let me look up your name. Okay, tell me about your people. Where are you from? Okay, what are your people known for? Oh, they're known for farming, or they're known for, I don't know, working in factories, or they're known for, IT. You this is what you really do, right? And this is how you make really, like, the more information you have, the more informed decision you can make. A lot of people are not making informed decisions because you don't have enough information. It's very shallow, it's very surface, and it's very dangerous. It's dangerous because then after 5, 10 years, you realize, oh my God, we're not compatible. Oh my goodness, we have different mindsets pertaining to life and living. Oh my goodness, we have different mindsets pertaining to money and finances. We have different mindsets. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to really look into it, ask questions. And now I'm not saying gorilla person, ladies, but have those conversations each time you go out, each time you get together, have those conversations. Ask about the mother, ask about the father. You know what I'm saying? Ask questions and be open. And if they seem a little not open, then first you share a little something. I didn't say share everything, but you start sharing so that it could be comfortable, a comfortable conversation for you too each time you get together, because these things are going to pop up. Many of these things are inevitable. Okay. Some men think their wives should be home more. They want a home where when they come home, they just want to, they want to cook meal, blah, blah, blah. Others are like, yeah, I would love for her to have a career and I want to support her. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And so these are things you want to look at, because it's one of the most important decisions you will make in your life. And if it's the wrong decision, you can waste 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Really, you see people getting divorced at 55, 60, 65. Some of them, their marriage is about their children. Their children became the center of the marriage. And so when the children left, they didn't even really know each other. They didn't have a marriage. They were co-parenting they were married on paper and they were co-parenting. Their children was the center of everything. And so children get their own lives, people. They grow up, they leave, and they have their own lives. Even if they don't leave, they still have their own lives. They don't sit home and stay your children, you know, all your life and all their lives. And so you have to make sure you work on your marriage. Don't make your children the center of the marriage. Make the marriage, and then make the parenting. And but having the children and you making them the center will really get in the way of you finding out more deeper things about each other. You know what I'm saying? Find out if, and y'all, just say this and then I'm gonna wrap it up. Find out, he could come from a very perverted bloodline, or she can come from, they call them what they call them, the women of the night. She can come from the women of the night. You know what I'm saying? And y'all don't know these things. You know what I'm saying? And so you gotta know these things. Have the conversation so you can make a very informed decision if this is the one for me. And that way you're not going to God, every time somebody come, is this the one, Lord? Is this the one, Lord? Okay, is this the one, Lord? Now, Lord gonna be like, you coming back to me about this is the fifth one. Why don't you just get some information, use some discernment, right? And say, okay, Lord, my spirit man is feeling this when I bring them before you. You know what I'm saying? My spirit man is feeling her. I bring her, before you all. Last thing I want to say is you even have to determine your faith. Like some people are like, I just don't believe in God. Yeah. And you're like, I'm a believer. That's going to create a problem. It really is. So you got to make sure this person just doesn't receive Jesus, he or she, but that you guys both agree that we are believers of Jesus Christ and we choose to live our lives according to the written word of God, the principles of God, the biblical principles. Yes, because some people actually go to church, don't even know the principles. A lot of them don't even know scripture. They only know the scriptures that benefit them, but not scriptures that's talking about becoming like the dear son of the firstborn, which is Jesus. You know what I'm saying? So get the information. The more information you know, the more you can have an informed decision, and the more you can say, Father, I really discern that this may be the one that you're sending to me, and she or he, and we're confirmed that. All right. Okay, so we're going to get into love and money like all month because it is really one of the largest or the priority topics, right? That really changes the dynamics of a marriage. It does. Where you may start out good, the money is there, but what if somebody gets sick? What if someone loses a job, right? It messes with the marriage. It does. And so we're going to talk about so many things pertaining to love and marriage. All right, family, epic family. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you again for being so consistent and faithful. Baruch, Hava, and Shalom.
Yeah, ayy.